What is up, my friends, and welcome to the UFL Week in Review, one of the longest running UFL podcasts in human history. Mark Perry here, and this show, number 28, covering week 9 of the UFL season. We've got a packed episode for you today, including updates about UFL expansion and teams in 2025, week 8 ratings and attendance, of course, the unveiling of the UFL Championship Trophy. We got power rankings, DFS previews, and more. Stick around for the notes section where we cover the latest news from across all of alternative football landscape. So with that being said, let's dive in.
USFL is in business.
The XFL is underway.
There's no doubt spring just got stronger.
So I want to share with you some of the things that I've been kind of hearing behind the scenes as we kind of wrap up season 1 of the United Football League. So some key points I wanted to kind of talk about was first that the UFL is considering keeping the current 8-team status quo in 2025. Michigan Panthers and Houston Roughnecks may relocate to improve attendance, and the league is deciding between two potential dates, March 1st and March 29th. So, of course, the inaugural season at the UFL, plenty of action happening behind the scenes as we conclude. There's a lot of talk going on. There's meetings going on. So what I'm hearing right now is that it's going to be status quo, keeping the 8 teams in 2025. That's where everybody's leaning toward, keeping the same current roster of 8 teams, with the league officially launching in January. With the new merged league between the XFL and USFL, it faced a compressed timeline for its first season. So UFL president and CEO Russ Brandon and other decision makers believe that 2025 will kind of be a redo, or the word I heard was mulligan, as far as what happens with 2025. So there just wasn't a lot of time. They want to give every location a chance, try to figure out what could work in Memphis, what could work in Michigan and some of these other locations, and give them a full year with the same staff, building those relationships with the fans, and everything just kind of builds, and they can have a full off season in 2025 with what teams are going to be there, all this kind of stuff that we've kind of dealt with last season. So I kind of understand. It makes sense. They also want to kind of show stability with the league so that there's 8 teams. We're not changing things around. We're not constantly shuffling. Yeah, they want to add, they would be great to add teams, but I think getting one season, they got this season. Everything looks good according to, especially with the ratings, and Fox, Redbird Capital are happy with things that are going on. So let's kind of keep it to status quo, build off of what we did in 2025. Now, what we did here, there could be some changes. Panthers, Roughnecks could be on the move. Michigan Panthers, I'm hearing, might be out at Ford Field, moving to somewhere like East Lansing or Ann Arbor, Michigan, kind of within that 100-mile radius of Detroit. Maybe trying to get towards like families and more of the kind of suburbs of the outside of the city of Detroit, might bring in some more fans. We don't know. I mean, Detroit Lions actually do well now because they have a good team. Michigan Panthers have a good team. Why is it not translating, or what they're figuring out? That's kind of the talk right now. And then the Roughnecks moving from Rice Stadium back to TD-ECU Stadium seems to be, they did better there in the past. I'm not sure. I've never been to either stadium, but it looks like they would probably be going back to TD-ECU Stadium. So there you have kind of what might change behind the scenes there. So, of course, with 2025 and only 8 teams, there means there's no expansion. That appears to be the way. Remember, now there was all this, they are budgeting for a 10-team format, but that's kind of as a contingency. We know the whole deal with the government, the United States government, and part of the merger, and people are like, what are you talking about? There's no such thing. Da, 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 da. Remember, Fox is a publicly traded company, so that makes the rules different versus a private sector entity like the XFL was. So that kind of made things kind of wonky, and that's why they kind of needed that merger approval. That why it took a little while for it to happen, and then it was, okay, in year 1 you'll do 8 teams, in year 2 you'll do 10. They're kind of saying, hey, well, we haven't even really had a year 1, a full year 1. Give us a full year 1 so that we could expand to 10 in 2026. I think if they have a full season and everything goes the way it did this season, then I think you definitely would see 2 new teams in 2026. There is a faction. There's one side of the coin that wants to keep it the status quo. There's the other side of the coin that wants to add teams. kind of getting the feeling that like maybe Fox is kind of more of the alpha dog in the room, is kind of like the vibe that I'm getting. And so like Fox wants Memphis to stay, so Memphis stays, and Fox kind of wants 8 teams. And maybe that's kind of why, I don't know, but it's just trying to parse all the different things that you're hearing and giving, kind of trying to figure out one cohesive thing. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting, but I'm still not sure, just take it for what it is. So likely, that is the current situation internally. That's what they're kind of looking at. But there will be a plan for 10 teams, but that really comes down to regulation. And I said boardroom discussions, but the current feeling is the same 8 in 2025. One other thing I've been hearing about is they're bouncing around start dates. Now it's not going to, it looks like no way. There's been no chatter about going back to February. The 2 weekends we hear is maybe March 1st and maybe March 29th. Those are the kind of 2 dates they're leaning with, but leaning towards going back to March 29th. They've gotten some good numbers when they're not going up against stuff. Next year, there'll be familiarity with the league. I think every week that the league is on television, it's just more and more chance to connect with fans. It's kind of like when it's on television, people are watching, but they're not connecting with a team or a franchise just yet. That takes time. Now, what I have heard is that when it comes to the 8 teams and the March date, that kind of August, September timeframe is when they want to kind of lock things in. So you think about June ends, you've got July off, and then by the time end of August rolls around, they really kind of want to lock in. All right, here's our start date, and we are going with 8 teams or 10 teams, most likely 8 teams. That's kind of what those are the 2 dates that I keep hearing. One other thing that was kind of interesting that I'm hearing is that behind the scenes discussions revolving around budget cuts and this new, I guess they've kind of have preliminary budgets out there for like 8 and 10 teams is kind of what they're banting about. And some coaches have gotten wind, or they've told coaches about what their salaries might look like, and was not very happy. The head coaches, we're talking about the head coaches' pay. They were not happy. And some of them said that if the current status quo, what they're kind of talking about coaches pay, that they're not coming back. And that's not just, kind of the losing end of the spectrum coaches. Those are the kind of winning coaches. I don't know what the deal is with Wade Phillips or Bob Stoops as far as if they had 3-year contracts or 2-year contracts, but you kind of get an idea maybe who I'm talking about, as people who might not be happy and might not want to come back next year. Now, again, this is all preliminary. There's agents involved and discussions and how the league finishes the season, what kind of money they make. But this was kind of put out there, and the head coaches were not happy because this didn't really impact some coaches. I don't know who has what contract, but some of the coaches are on a 2-year deal guaranteed. And that was a kind of way to entice them to come in. So they're on that second year of that 2-year guarantee. Next year, that 2-year guarantee is up, and they'll be out, and they'll take a pay cut. I think they already kind of got a pay cut when it came to their budget for the assistant coaches, and I think now it's potential that would be even another pay cut. That wouldn't make, that's kind of, and again, I don't know. I get the feeling that that's kind of the Fox side of things. Remember, the Fox was as low as you can get to get the product, where a Redbird kind of spent too much money. And hopefully there can be some happy medium, because it would be a shame if you have, you want to show consistency in this league. And if you lose some coaches on the higher end on winning teams, that would be a bad sign for your league. So, come to an agreement, figure something out, and see where it goes from there. But that's kind of what I've been hearing about what some of these coaches not too happy with, what the potential pay could be for them in 2025. Season ticket packages, fans have been waiting. Word on the street is that they're very close to announce the season ticket packages for next season, which is a great thing. Keep an eye out for Michigan potentially not being added on that list. That doesn't mean that Michigan is out. It just means that, again, there would be more credence to the idea that they might be having a different location in 2025. That's kind of that's the gist that I've been hearing. But season ticket packages will come out soon. I didn't hear anything as far as if they were going to raise the rates, lower the rate. I bet you they would keep it as a status quo for next season. just trying to get people in the door and more season ticket holders. I've talked to fans and they're like, well, why would I pay for season tickets when I can pay for cheaper seats? Then I've also, what I can get on a game day. There's credence to that, and maybe there's not much incentive for season ticket holders. At the same time, I've heard on the other spectrum that, hey, you're trying to support the league and, trying to give them revenue because you want the league to sustain itself. So, you're already getting a good deal. So just get your season tickets and that's that. I know for me, I'm already talked about upgrading. I have friends that are involved that are excited to all kind of try to get tickets together on upgraded packages. And then when I tell them like what these season tickets are, they're just like blown away. And they all have a great time there in DC, Beer Snake, etc. So bringing people out to the Beer Snake for the last game of the season. So that's something to keep an eye on. Also, everyone behind the scenes, Fox, Redbird, all happy. And that's one of the things I wanted to hear was especially Redbird, because they were kind of like the money guys behind it. And if they're kind of out, then that would make me concerned. But they seem to be in. Fox seems to be in. You keep hearing about maybe a power struggle between Fox and Redbird. If that's just, I don't know, talk. Something to keep in mind. But behind the scenes, everybody's really thrilled about this. The TV ratings are really good, and where the numbers that they're getting, they're really happy about that. I have been trying to ask around, and I'm not really getting a straight answer about what the deal is with Danny Garcia and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, whether they're involved or not. I don't really see anything on the outside. They are definitely not as involved as part of me was like, it was just like a passion project for them. And it was kind of all about them in the beginning. And that's not really what I wanted. It was more about the teams that kind of dissipated as the season went on. And again, they have a drawing power, but The Rock is wrestling, Danny Garcia. I don't know what's going on at GSTQ and all this other stuff, but are they really involved, and how big are they involved? Or is it more about the relationships that they have and that's what they bring to the table, rather than decision-making about rules and uniforms or what teams, that and other thing? I'm just not hearing that they're part of these discussions. So that's just something to keep in mind going forward, whether or not Rock and Danny Garcia are kind of part of this stuff. So overall, we're reaching the climax of the 2024 season. Things are popping behind the scenes. It's great that the league, everybody feels that the league is on solid foundation. They're talking about a season 2. And I think if things can progress and season 1 is anywhere near season 2, and if not better, then we're off to the races and we could see this league around for 5 years. But definitely a strong showing. We'll see how the league season kind of culminates. What kind of numbers they get in St. Louis. Maybe if they can switch things around, and increase the attendance. It seems like 10,000 is kind of a good number for all the other tiers, 30,000 plus for St. Louis Battlehawks and about 12,000 for the DC Defenders. All seems to be like kind of where the level is. They would love to get these other franchises, instead of 5,000 or 6,000, to get them to that 10,000 range. And they could do that on the off season. And then we'll see how things go. But if you notice and you're watching the product, there's more sponsorships. They're not officially announced, but you're hearing more sponsorships. We also have the Monday Night Football or Friday Night Football that would be in March too, as well. That's another way to draw fans. I mean, the SmackDown Sports Friday night thing did really well. I think they're banking on college football, college basketball, and the UFL to bring in big numbers on a Friday night. So we will see. But all in all, everything is looking good. There are these little things, though, behind the scenes that you're hearing. And again, everything is always fluid. You never know. People change, opinions change. I'm just kind of giving you an update, kind of what's happening right now. So let me know, what do you think about the number of teams, the start dates, coaches' salaries? I mean, these are all kind of interesting things that we'll see how it plays out for the 2025 season. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let us know what you think in the comments. All right, we've got Week 8 UFL ratings from ABC, Fox, and ESPN2. Plus, we've got the attendance numbers Sue is bringing in. Of course, we get the information from Mr. Mike Mitchell, the great Mike Mitchell from now at Sports Illustrated, I think. Now, I think they kind of cleared that stuff up. So we've got Saturday's game, Memphis Showboats, Michigan Panthers on Fox, 673,000. Houston and Birmingham, On ESPN2, remember ESPN numbers are always lower, 254,000. Nothing going on with that game, no excitement. But you see, when you put these games on these lower tier networks, you're just going to get these numbers. DC at St. Louis, ABC, a good network to be on, 1.1 million. That game had bite to it. There was playoff implications involved with that. And then the Arlington San Antonio on Fox, taking a dip at 545,000 viewers. So that's what we had going on this week. Some attendance numbers for the Showboats Michigan Panthers, 9,370. For the Birmingham Stallions at home, Houston Roughnecks at Birmingham Stallions, 10,245. I think that is a good number. 10,000 to me is a good number for Birmingham. And I also think the Michigan Panthers, with their final home game, getting close to that 10,000 for that kind of third tier teams. I mean, we've got St. Louis is at the top. We'll get to them in a second. DC is number 2. I think your other tier is your Birmingham Stallions. I would really actually probably would say it should be San Antonio Brahmas. We'll take a look. And then your Stallions, followed by your Michigan Panthers. So if they can get that 10,000 numbers, I think those are pretty decent attendance numbers. San Antonio Brahmas, 11,395. I would love to see them at 12,000. That should be the number that I think San Antonio Brahmas should be. I think they should be kind of like that second tier in there with the DC Defenders, based on they don't have a pro football team there. And then finally, what else are we missing here? Oh, the St. Louis Battlehawks before that 1.1 million, 32,403. I think anything over 30,000 is amazing for the St. Louis Battlehawks. Clearly, we've got there. Clearly, you're starting to see some of the attendance numbers are actually looking a little bit better now that they've had a chance to kind of be in the markets. Fans, at least in those markets, the Battlehawks are a good team. Brahmas are a fun team to watch. Chase Garbers could be back. Stallions are undefeated, so why not go there? You don't have a home team there. 10,000 for them. And then, of course, Michigan Panthers have a good team. Their telecast, by the way, peaked at 1 million at between 7 and 7:13 p.m. on Fox. So there's your numbers this week. I think all in all, it's pretty good. You're going to get an ESPN2 number. That's bad. I mean, the Fox numbers aren't that great, but the games didn't hold much weight either. But I don't know if fans are really people that tune in are really watching for that stuff. But I mean, if you look at ABC with 1.1 million for the DC St. Louis game that had some bite to it, it makes sense. It's just these numbers and this type of thing is just going to take time. And when it's buried on ESPN2, only the super nerds like us will find it. But I would assume all in all, the league is still happy with the numbers. Let us know what you think about the TV ratings. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. What do you think about the ratings? What do you think about the attendance? Do you think there'd be some off-season moves? Let us know in the comments. The UFL unveils its championship trophy today. What do you think about it? We have all the pictures on UFL News Hub and all over social media. So that today, the UFL unveiled the image of the newly created UFL Championship trophy that will be presented to the winner of the inaugural UFL Championship on June 16th at the Dome at America Center in St. Louis, Missouri, with yours truly being there along with my wife. Crafted by the esteemed designers at Society Awards in Charlotte, North Carolina, the UFL Championship Trophy is made of solid aluminum, stands 21 inches tall with a diameter of 14.2 inches, and it is mounted on an 8.65-inch base. We have the specs out there also on UFL New Hub. So the collaboration between UFL and Society Awards underscores a commitment to craftsmanship and quality that embodies the spirit of victory and excellence. Its design represents the fusion of tradition and innovation and not only honors the champions, but also elevates the prestige of the league. It would be really cool, and I don't know if they're going to do this, but to etch all the championship team names, they kind of have it as like a Stanley Cup kind of deal versus just a regular old trophy. But I get it. If you want to do the trophy kind of thing, that's fine. See from Russ Brandon, he said the UFL Championship Trophy symbolizes the culmination of dedication, perseverance, and teamwork that is the foundation of the UFL. This magnificent trophy represents not only the hard work and sacrifices made throughout the season, but also the spirit of the game itself. It will serve as a beacon of inspiration for our players, reflecting their passion for football and the relentless pursuit to prove to themselves and the world that they can be champions. The trophy stands as a testament to the commitment, unity, and resilience that define our league, motivating every player to strive for greatness and achieve their dreams, close quote. So, of course, the game concludes June 16th at the Dome. Tickets are on sale now. The game will be broadcast, of course, on Fox and Fox Sports app beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern that day. So let us know what you think. The UFL trophy, how does it compare with the USFL trophy, with the XFL trophy? We never saw the AAF trophy, or stuff like the CFL or the Super Bowl trophy. So let us know what you think in the comments.
Hey, football fans! Just because the NFL season has wrapped doesn't mean the thrill of fantasy football has to end. Introducing NewsHubFantasy.com, your year-round fantasy football haven. Dive into the action with the United Football League and Canadian Football League. Whether it's the UFL's dynamic plays or the CFL's strategic battles, we've got you covered with fantasy leagues and weekly pick'em games that keep the competition fierce and the stakes high, all season long. Best of all, it's absolutely free. Join existing leagues to challenge the community, or create private leagues to compete with friends. With NewsHubFantasy.com, the game never stops. Strategy, camaraderie, and the chase for fantasy football glory continues beyond the NFL, bringing you closer to the sport you love every day. Don't sit on the sidelines. Visit NewsHubFantasy.com today, sign up for free, and keep your fantasy football season going. Because here, the game never ends. NewsHubFantasy.com, where football fantasy lives all year round.
We have our UFL Power Rankings for Week 8. Nothing too surprising here. We've got Stallions at number 1 at 8-0, undefeated. What can you say about the Stallions, though? They take on the Brahmas, which could be an interesting game. Probably one of the few interesting. I mean, all the games are kind of have some value, but this one in particular, I think, is the most interesting of the weekend. Birmingham Brahmas taking on the Birmingham Stallions taking on the San Antonio Brahmas. Number 2, of course, is the Battlehawks. No question about there. They defeated DC Defenders, lost to Birmingham. They've been playing really well. They're at number 2. We'll see what AJ McCarron's status is for this weekend. San Antonio Brahmas, I agree, at number 3. They have been previously ranked at number 3. They defeated Arlington 2015 last week. At number 4, Michigan Panthers. It makes sense. They're the 4th team. I don't know. Would you even think about moving San Antonio? I might even move the Michigan Panthers, to be honest with you, up above the San Antonio Brahmas. I'm a little concerned about the Brahmas quarterback play as of late, even though he did play better. Quentin Dormady played better last week, 320 yards and 2 touchdowns. I have some concerns. We'll see how that goes. I might flip Michigan. Just saying. They defeated Memphis 24-18, even though Memphis is Memphis. We'll see what's going on with EJ Perry, whether or not he returns or not. DC Defenders at number 5. They were in the hunt. They lost to St. Louis on the road 21-26. It was close, and then that's it. So hopefully maybe we could finish the season. America's team finishes the season at 5-5. They take on, I think, Memphis this weekend, followed by the Arlington Renegades at home. Should be able to win those two to finish 5-5. We'll see where they stack up. Arlington Renegades at number 6. They lost to San Antonio 15-20. Again, they play everybody really well, even though they only have one win. They're at number 6. At number 7, Houston Roughnecks. Yeah, I think I agree with all of this stuff so far. At number 7, they lost to Birmingham. They put up some points, 28 points against Birmingham. Not bad for the Houston Roughnecks, who've struggled all season long. And then finally, yes, definitely the worst team, the team that I thought would be a heck of a lot better, the Memphis Showboats, and they're in at number 8. I have no problem with any of this. I might flip. What do you think about flipping Arlington and Houston maybe? But really the one that's intriguing to me is Michigan Panthers and San Antonio Brahmas. Depending on how this weekend go, if the Brahmas can play Birmingham well, or Birmingham's beat the Birmingham Stallions, they might even go to number 1, number 2. We'll have to find out, and we'll see how Michigan Panthers do. But those are your power rankings for this week. On to the gambling for this week for the UFL Week 9. We've only got 2 weeks left, my friends. 2 weeks left. My lineup, I'm going a little off the rails here. Adrian Martinez, I think if the Birmingham Stallions are up by a lot, or even if it's a close game, Matt Corral might come in, at least for the final 2 games. I have a feeling maybe that could happen. That's the only reason why I'm staying away from Adrian Martinez. Luis Perez might be a guy that I'm starting against St. Louis. He's been putting up points. Him and Sal Cannella have been playing really well. Dormady, up and down, but he's playing in Birmingham. And so I am going with Jordan Ta'amu of America's team, DC Defenders, as my guy. They're playing Memphis, the worst team in the league. Maybe we can see some sparks fly on the DC Defenders offense to kind of close out the season. We'll see where we're going there. Matthew Colburn, having him as the running back. Wes Hills is out, so Colburn will get the bulk of the carries. I've got David Davis always with Memphis. He has always played well for them. He's their best player. Hall from Houston, also one of their best players. There is 11.8 points at 8,500. Davis was at 9,200. Colburn at 8,000 and Jordan Ta'amu at 9,300. Kiki Cote is a guy, I think he's overpriced at 550, but he did have 6 targets last week. He could have more this week going up against Memphis. I think he could be a guy to keep an eye on. And Austin Jr. from Birmingham has played well, 5,100. And then the Stallions defense in there as well. Jim, on the other hand, he's got Martinez, Colburn, Hall. He's got Sal Cannella as a guy that I would put in there. I would swap him out. He's been red hot lately. He's got Austin Jr. He's got Smith from DC Defenders, also a guy that maybe could light it up. And he's also got the DC Defenders at defense there. So I think that's his lineup is pretty solid. I'll probably play his lineup also and see how we do this week, because we basically have lost every single one of these things. And I even did that during the CFL season too. On to our, I'm all out on the wrong page. On to our picks this week. Battlehawks at Arlington. That game is on ABC. Battlehawks minus 3.5. Over/under is 46. I'm taking the Battlehawks. I'm taking the under because AJ McCarron is out. Arlington has a pretty decent defense. They play people tight. DC Defenders was kind of in that game last week. That game is on ABC, and that is at noon on the 25th. So I'm going with the under on there because AJ McCarron is out. Birmingham Stallions at San Antonio Brahmas, the game of the weekend, in my opinion. That is Saturday at 3 p.m. Stallions are 8.5 favorites. I am going with the spread because I'm afraid of Dormady. I mean, if somehow Chase Garbers is your starting quarterback, I would change that. I'm going with the over 44. I mean, Birmingham can basically score 44 points on their own. I'm taking the Stallions to win. Dormady, it's now he's going up against a good defense. So that's why I think I'm going with the under, because I'm a little afraid. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going with the over. I'm sorry. I'm going with the over on that one because between Dormady and they're playing well, and Stallions could score 44. So I'm going with the over on that one. America's team, DC Defenders, Memphis Showboats. I hope we don't have a repeat of when DC lost to the worst team in the league last year. I got the Defenders. Defenders are minus 5.5, 46. I'm going the under. I'm taking the Defenders on the spread and the money line, but I'm going on the under on the points just because DC has just not been lighting people up, and neither is Memphis. Each team is good for about 20 points, and that would give you 40. So I'm taking the under on that one. And then finally, Michigan Panthers at Houston Roughnecks. Maybe it could be a game. Remember, both games on Sunday on the 26th start at 2:30. That's both games. So they're doing that whole simulcast deal. Panthers minus 3. I've got the over and under is 40. So I'm taking the Panthers. I'm taking the over because I think both teams can definitely score more than 20 points, and I'm taking the Panthers to win. Finn's parlay this week, he won a couple times. The spread, I'm taking the Battlehawks. The over/under, I'm taking the over on the Panthers Roughnecks game. We just talked about that. And taking the DC Defenders on the money line. $5 pays you $25.87. And, of course, the parlay on the over/unders. And the money line, $1 pays $6.95. And then the parlay on the money line is $4.08. Let us know what your picks are in the comments. And make sure you like and subscribe.
Welcome to the heart of the United Football League. Welcome to UFL News Hub phone app. Our phone app is designed for the true UFL enthusiast. UFL News Hub brings the game closer than ever before. With our phone app, Dive into game previews, get expert analysis, and never miss a beat. Download it today on the Google Play Store. Anticipate every play with detailed game previews and analyses. Understand the strategies, the matchups, and the pivotal moments that define every clash. Relive the excitement with in-depth post-game reviews. Break down the key plays, the results, and all that shape the thrill of the game. Go behind the scenes with exclusive interviews and content. Meet the stars, the coaches, and the personalities that make the UFL shine. Stay ahead with comprehensive news coverage. From game schedules to injury reports and league announcements, we've got you covered. Navigate with ease through our intuitive app design. Enjoy regular updates, ensuring you have the latest features and UFL content at your fingertips. UFL News Hub is more than just an app. It's your gateway to the UFL universe. Designed for fans of all levels, from the casual follower to the avid statistician. Join our community. Live and breathe the United Football League with UFL News Hub. Download now on the Google Play Store and stay always in the game. Version coming soon for the iPhone.
All right, now we are part of the program where we hit the news and notes. First off, the European League of Football is ready to start their season 4. Aaron's got a whole breakdown of the EFL season, culminating in a championship game that will be held September 22nd. All the different teams, Rain Fire, looking to be back-to-back champions. You want to check out that, but the ELF is starting up this weekend, and we will be covering the ELF. And if you want us to cover I know I wanted to do ELF and Indoor Football League. It's just been a very wacky, crazy year. Revenue is not there to start paying for all this stuff, but I definitely have some interest in the European League of Football to kind of keep an eye on that. So he'll be covering that. So they are starting this week. So stay tuned for that. Former Roughnecks, Cole McDonald signs with the Edmonton Elks. I thought for sure he was going to be a guy in the UFL, but apparently he is not. So he is... I thought maybe he just didn't want to do it anymore, but he signs with the Edmonton Elks of the CFL. We'll see if he makes the roster. I really would love to see him. He was a big name guy. They only used him as a running back. I would have loved to see him get a shot if there's more teams in the league, but he was a name guy that people were excited about, but he moves on to the Canadian Football League. As the CFL draws near, multiple USFL and XFL alums find themselves released. Pat Ruffino has got this. He said some guys that have been released over the past couple there that was part of CFL training camps. Their preseason is starting now. Todd Centro from the Guardians got released. Aaron Adeyo from the Stallions. Ferdinand Jordan, the Pittsburgh Maulers draft pick in the 4th round. TJ Stormont of Orlando. Garrett Magg of the Panthers. Ralia Tejada, Roughnecks. Desmond Patton, the Panthers. Ali Green, the 4th, Battlehawks. Hunter Thedford of the Maulers. Emike Mbuli from the Battlehawks. DeAndre Torrey, Panthers and Vipers. Matthew McKay, Brahmas. Jaquari Robertson from the Roughnecks. Bryce Watts played there. I mean, there's a lot of guys here. Jeff Badette, thought maybe he would make it. He's looking, maybe he might retire. Didn't make the roster. See some other guys on here. Caleb Elby, Houston Roughnecks is not. Brian Herrian, interviewed him on the podcast, Arlington Renegades. And Thad Moss was a big one also that didn't make it. So he's got a full list there if you're curious to see who guys that tried out for the CFL that didn't make it. But we'll see. There could be more cuts also coming soon, so we'll stay tuned to that. Big news. Venue Sports. You want to know what Venue Sports is? It's the streaming service brought to you by your pals that will launch this summer from your pals at Fox, ESPN, and Warner Brothers are bringing their collective company portfolios of sports networks and ESPN Plus from all the major professional sports leagues and college sports. So that's what's going on there. Subscribers will also have the ability to bundle the product, including with Disney Plus, Hulu, or Max. Platform will aggregate content to offer fans an extensive dynamic lineup of sports content to serve, blah, blah, blah. So Venue Sports, ESPN, Fox, Warner Brothers, Discovery joint venture. That's what it's called. And we'll have further details of it. Venue.com will be available in the fall. And I assume that this is going to have stuff on there. This means that, basically if you want to watch any UFL game, you don't have to go between ESPN Plus or Fox Sports app. Everything will be on there. Friday night games will be on there. So, and hopefully they have a big part of that package. We know that they're very happy with the ratings, that, they will give some love to our UFL United Football League. Speaking of love, UFL PA announced changes to the player bonuses for 2024. I don't know if I mentioned this last week. Remember, they had that little they filed a grievance with the players. The players union filed a grievance because there was no weekly awards. Well, instead of paying out player of the week bonuses, the UFL has agreed to increase the all UFL team compensation pool. So they put that money in there. Postseason bonuses for the all UFL player of the year and MVP honorees will remain in effect under the new agreement. UFL is aiming to balance fairly rewarding top performance players while managing overall costs. We know they're trying to keep the costs down. That's kind of been a thing across all of corporations at this moment. I won't get into that. So stay tuned for that offseason situation. I'm hearing there's some stuff going on between the UFL players not interested in the UFL PA and rather be part of the NFL PA, that there's some things chatter have been going about that behind the scenes, something to kind of keep you an eye on during the offseason. But they kind of took care of that, something that we talked about. UFL Championship tickets are on sale now. If you want to go get them, we will be there. I haven't figured out where we're going to sit yet, but the pre-sale window started and ended on the 22nd. So now it's open to the general public. But you can purchase up to 8 tickets, but the tickets are on sale now. So you want to check that out. If you plan on coming to the game, we plan on being at the game. We've already booked our hotel. And so we definitely love to hang out and meet people before the game. We'll be doing probably the Budweiser tour on Saturday. I'll have to just kind of see how my wife is feeling, her situation. Just go to uflnewshub.com/blood. You'll learn all about that story and her cancer. And I have already my blood donation set for June 5th, I believe, is my next blood donation. So we'll see how she's feeling, but that's what's coming up. The Chip Championship. And it's just a lot of fun. Hopefully they do some stuff up. I know I keep seeing that partnership with with Missouri. So hopefully maybe they have some little bit more juice, some fun things going on. But again, they're trying to keep the costs low. We know how the whole thing goes. So they're not going to be very extravagant about that. Today, congratulations to the Arlington Renegades. Oh, wait, no. Tomorrow, the Arlington Renegades will receive their 2023 XFL Championship ring. So that's good. If you want to be part of it, Troy's at Texas Live from 4 to 6. You could see the Arlington Renegades, Bob Stoop, and the entire coaching staff, along with UFL President and CEO Russ Brandon, will be there, winning their championship when they beat the, America's team, DC Defenders. I was there last May. God, that's so long ago, man. So much has gone on since then. So you can check that out. And also, Protective Stadium will host the USFL Conference Championship game that has already been announced. That game is set to take place Saturday, June 8th, with the Birmingham Stallions taking on the Michigan Panthers. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. Central and be on ABC. And also, the USFL Conference Championship game will go on sale. Tickets will go on sale on Thursday as well. And we're still trying to figure out who is going to be in where the XFL Conference Championship game will be. One of the interesting thing is they basically had no choice but to play at Protective Stadium because Michigan already had something booked on the date that they wanted to do it. So they had no choice but to play this game there. Anyway, there was a whole thing about that. But yeah, so they had to play this game there. Michigan, they didn't think it was going to do very well. They weren't sure, so they didn't lock in that date. And it got booked by somebody else. And then now you have, so they were going to play there anyway. So kind of worked out, but it kind of would have been weird if Michigan was undefeated and Birmingham and they flipped the records and then they had to play their championship game because of the venue situation. Maybe they could have figured something out. I don't know, but that's kind of what was going on with that. Finally, let's get to some emailers. First up, John says, props to FS1 for aggressively promoting this past week's games on their primetime programming. Very nice to see. Hope your wife is doing well. See you at the championship game. Got my tickets today. Very cool. Congratulations. We'll see you there, John, as well. Frank says, as a Battlehawks fan, I have 3 concerns talking about the Battlehawks defeating the DC Defenders. Number 1 being the availability of starting quarterback A.J. McCarron. Secondly, the fact that the team looks so weak against the pass. Finally, the play of the ORT. He seems to be one of the less skilled starting OL in the league. So we'll see what that offensive right tackle, is that what is he talking about? Little concern there. Yeah, I mean, the way things are kind of shaping up now, I mean, Battlehawks were hot and they were doing good, AJ McCarron gets hurt. I mean, they'll be fine. I mean, could you imagine if San Antonio takes the win? That's something to even consider. Battlehawk, but I mean, like I said, the league needs to have St. Louis in there. They don't need necessarily St. Louis to win. Birmingham can win, and that's fine. Then Birmingham is the evil empire that everybody wants to take down, and I think that would also be good for the league. But definitely need St. Louis in that championship game. Kevin says, keep the present rules in place as much as possible. Gives the audience a sense of knowing and belonging. Talking about the article that I put out this week about all the number of teams, the start dates that was being talked about. Let us know what you think in the comments. A lot of people were commenting on that. Fourth and Long says, Mark, in a nutshell, it sounds like status quo for 25. Very much fine with that. Focus on improving the 8 teams you got. If they expand, go to big markets, New York, New Jersey, Philly, Tampa, etc. So glad to hear they are happy with the results so far. I am. Got to be realistic, and with only one league, the TV results are trending up about 33 from 2023. With sports right jumping off the roof, UFL is still an expensive way to get sports programming with a high ceiling, if it's true. The Michigan talk of alternative sites may be a tactic to get a better rate from Ford Field, maybe. They also were likely displeased the line ticket operations, which they had paid for or was part of the deal. There's supposedly to be, or likely, a new soccer stadium in Detroit in 2027. They don't have any interest in playing in soccer fields. Doing the whole thing with the DC Defenders, even though we love Audi Field, has been a big pain in the butt for them, and that's why I think they want to stay away from soccer, unless they have games on like a Thursday. I think they need to hold out for that and stay in Detroit. Stay in Michigan, that's the key. Ann Arbor is still in the Detroit metro area. If they move, that's as far as they can go, in my opinion. Totally not surprised The Rock and Danny Garcia are less around. They are not financing the league, and Rock frontman, and he's pretty much MIA since week 1. It's ABC, Fox, and RBC, Redbird Capital. Thanks for the update. Let's go. Agree with him there. Let's see. Mike says, I don't see the league moving to East Lansing or Ann Arbor, but I could see them utilizing Ricerson Stadium in Ypsilanti, since the Panthers use that as their training facility for the 2023 season, along with the Stars Spartan Stadium and Michigan Stadium, are much larger than Ford Field and would look worse on TV. Ricerson Stadium seats 30,200 and would be more ideal for the spring league, at least until the soccer-specific stadium is done in Corktown. Again, I'm telling you, they have no interest in soccer stadiums whatsoever. They're a pain in the butt. That's the problem, because they have to get their soccer field ready, and then they're playing on Saturdays. And that's, I think, really part of the problem why they don't want to do soccer. Elijah says, we had 16 spring football teams last year. Now we are merged into 8 teams, and they aren't even going to try and expand. Are we moving forward? Or are we moving backwards? Well, again, in the article and in the video that we talked about, this year was kind of considered a mulligan because they were just trying to get things going and see how things are transpiring, and then go from there. And really, they can focus things and really hammer down next year. That's kind of the thing. Give them a full year, a full runway to get everything done. I mean, remember, we just saw the UFL Championship Trophy on this episode. They have to design that. There's all this other extra junk they have to do. Now they can get into the off season, have a bunch of training camps, showcases. We've already seen some booked. They already kind of have an idea of time frame and when they want to start the league. So I think it's okay. I get it. I'm not upset, but I get it. I'd rather have it here 5 years than out. And Jeffrey says both potential moves are aimed at boosting attendance figures and bringing the product closer to the families. Talking about my article, he said, obviously the person writing the article has never been to Michigan, nor do they understand the population of Michigan. Moving to Lansing is moving farther away, too far, and reduces the population numbers for attendance. Going to Ann Arbor would be okay, but where are they going to play? Because they are way better off at Ford Field than the big house. I'm a 2-year season ticket holder. I would never go to watch them in a college football stadium. I need a seat. My back doesn't do bench. I am not Jeffrey from Michigan. I am not from Michigan. I'm just telling you the things that I have been told, that this is kind of part of it. Maybe they can boost it by being out of Ford Field, and in we've seen some other people talk about different stadiums. Just something, just keep in mind, man. Just keep in mind. Don't get so upset. Kyle says, Mark, on the non-NFL professional football iterations I have watched the past few years, the UFL has been the best by far. There does need to be better marketing push to better promote these games next season. But what this league needs more than anything is consistency. I agree with that. Plan to exist again for another year, XFL, AAFL, whatever, part USFL. And now this merger makes it very hard to develop a stable fan base. Agreed. There have been a variety of reasons why these leagues have changed shape, but relocation would certainly diminish enthusiasm for the league at this stage. It took many years for all the other professional leagues to grow into their current scale. Having fewer quality teams, not you, Memphis, has forced the games to be mostly competitive and very entertaining. One of the smartest moves the XFL made was to give a city who lost an NFL team, St. Louis, a team. Oakland and San Diego would be great examples of future cities that would be very excited for fan base. Step one, exist. Step two, profit. Agreed. Oakland and San Diego are out because they're in California. Too expensive there, my friends. All right, my friends, appreciate all the messages. Remember, if you want to be part of the show, 888-430-7692, extension 3. Also, like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that. Always smash that like button. And then email us podcast@uflnewshub.com. Let us know what you think about the trophies. Week 9 is about ready to hit, and then we are done. And then we're into the final week of the UFL season. It's been a crazy, crazy season behind the scenes for me here personally. But we're still grinding, and we're still trying to have some fun with it, with everything going on with my wife. And so anyway, that's it for me, folks. As always, God bless. Enjoy the games this weekend. Some of them matter. Some of them still matter, and some of them will be fun. And that's it for me, folks, as always, and I will see you all later.